daily moments. And the thing that came to my mind, and why I came on here to record this, was the topic of being overwhelmed. I've had a few people contact me or text me, whether that's a phone call, text. A few have even emailed me because they don't have my cell phone number or they don't realize that I am on Facebook. But at any rate, they have contacted me pretty much giving me the rundown on everything that they have going on. And they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed because of not just finances, but the fact that they're in their homes, quarantined in, or just making the list based on some suggestions or other videos that they've watched of mine. And they're making these lists of things they want to get done or accomplished in the next 30 days or the next 2 months or by the end of the year or even going into next year, because they're making these action lists and action plans, and they're feeling overwhelmed. So I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about what's overwhelmed and how do you get beyond being overwhelmed, or what exercises you can do to help you so that you're not overwhelmed, or what you thought would normally make you overwhelmed really is just a matter of your perspective. So let's see. Overwhelmed would be when you feel like you are in overload of information, tasks, responsibilities, different things that you need to do, not just in your day and in your home, but when it comes to work or when it comes to things you want to do personally, like skydiving, taking trips, saving money, balancing a checkbook, writing a book, any other action steps or action plans that you desire for your life to look like and what you want to do. Well, when they're making these action plans, or as they're working on the action plans that they have created, other things, life happens, things come in the way. So it throws them off of focus of what they were currently working on, which is that action plan list, or maybe one specific thing that's on that list. And they start to become overwhelmed, which is an overload. So think about your car when it starts to run hot. When you're overwhelmed, that's the way that your body feels mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's how you feel, like you're running hot and you don't know what to do to cool yourself down or to calm down. So then you become overwhelmed, is what we call it. And so I'm going to say this: you're becoming overwhelmed because you're looking at that list, or if you haven't wrote it down and it's mental, you are mentally thinking about everything that you want to do, everything that you have to do, whether it's work, whether it's personal, whether it's family related, whether it's spiritual, everything that you want to do, and you have put yourself in a state of overload or overwhelming situations. So take a step back, sit down, get some water to drink. Drink some water, inhale and exhale for a moment. Don't even worry about the list for right now, because you are looking at everything as a whole. It's not a watermelon. It's not a big elephant. It's not a room full of all this stuff that needs to get done today, right now, this second, this moment, no matter what. And that's making you feel overwhelmed because you're thinking about it in that perspective. Now, in my earlier videos, when I talked about action plans or goal setting and writing them down, or thinking about what really you want to do to allow you to be you, I didn't say it had to be done that day. I didn't say it had to be done in the next 30 days. I didn't say it had to be done in a matter of hours. What I said was write them down so that you know, and you're making yourself a checklist. Well, your checklist, you can schedule and say, every day I'm going to do 3 things on this list. And write down on your calendar or mentally know that every day I need to do 3 things on this list. And work on getting those 3 things done. By the time you look at it 30 days, probably half of that list is already gone. Or you started the process on a task that's going to be taking longer time because all the parts and components that's involved in it. And that's how you stop yourself from being overwhelmed. But if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, this moment, or even last night, or sometime in this week, or sometime in the month, if you felt overwhelmed, take a step back. Collect yourselves, or as Pastor Hannah would say, gather yourselves. Think about what it is that needs to be a priority on your list of things you want to have done, and work on those 2 or 3 things in a day. Sometimes you may have to take one of those action steps or requests or responsibilities and break them down into smaller categories, because there's nothing that says you have to do it this second. Nothing. Unless it's emergency, like you cut yourself. So yeah, you need to go to the hospital and get stitches and get an x-ray and all that good stuff, because you want to stop the bleeding and stop the flow from coming out of your body where you need it inside your own body. Internally it should be. That's different. But when it comes to the responsibilities that you've placed on your action plan or your goal setting, or that you wrote in your calendar on that day, and here's the thing, life does happen. So you have to make room for those adjustments. You have to be flexible in certain things. So if that happens and you're only able to get 2 things accomplished out of the 3 things that you have listed for that day, don't beat yourself up. Just make it the first thing you do the following day. Or in my case, what I do is, like earlier today, I was only able to get 2 things out of the 3 things that I had on my list that I want to achieve and get completed today. Well, I'll probably stay up a little later just so I can get the 3rd thing achieved, or at least started. So then the first thing in the morning, I'm working on that 3rd, finalizing what that 3rd one is, and then work on the 3 that I have for tomorrow's date. And so being overwhelmed is not just a state of mind, but it's physically thinking about it and allowing it to overheat and over circulate through your system, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And you become overwhelmed from that because you look at it, oh my God, it's too much, it's so much. And then we also have to be cautious of what we say to ourselves, because you're programming your subconscious mind to think everything you do is going to be too much. It's too hard. It's too whatever that's negative, that'll keep you in this state of feeling overwhelmed. It's about prioritizing, organizing, and structuring yourself to prevent you from being overwhelmed. But if you feel like you're overwhelmed, and some people may feel like they're overwhelmed to the point of making themselves have a panic attack, okay, then sit down, breathe in and out, exhale and inhale, drink you some water, and if it calls for you to do this or have to do it, put your head between your legs while you're sitting on the chair, so that your body can then start to decompress all the stuff that you have built up mentally, physically, and emotionally, so that you can get back to being the awesome, amazing person you were meant to be. Thank you for your time, and I hope this daily moments was able to help you not be or feel so overwhelmed. Until next time, like, share, subscribe, even send it out to whoever you think might be overwhelmed or you've seen them be overwhelmed, to help them. You can email me at phyllis@josephinescoat.com. And until next time, continue being the amazing person you were meant to be, and don't allow anything to make you overwhelmed.